Dadnarok reacts to Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon. This is Sean.
This is Chris.
And we are here talking about the latest trailer for the brand new show, spin-off show from Game of Thrones. And we do this kind of thing all the time here at Dadnarok. Be sure to pay attention to our channel. We do a bunch of trailer reactions. Anytime there's a big trailer that comes out, we are going to react to it. Our latest one was the for the Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. Here's another fantasy show coming around the same time. They're going to be bumping heads as far as the when they're running.
I have no problem making time to watch both these. There's one thing I am not going to do after the pandemic period of time when everything shut down. We had no content. It's complain about too much content.
True. Yeah. We'll be discussing this show and The Lord of the Rings on our after show program, so be sure to stay tuned for that. Should we just dive into this thing?
Let's go right into it.
War is afoot.
I love dragons.
Daenerys?
No. The dream. It was clearer than a memory. And I heard the sound of thundering hooves, splintering shields and ringing swords. And I placed my hand upon the Iron Throne. And all the dragons roared as one.
I consider the matter urgent. That of your succession.
Well, who else would have a claim?
The firstborn child.
Rhaenyra. No queen has ever sat the Iron Throne.
The king has an heir, Daemon Targaryen.
I will not be made to choose between my brother and my daughter.
Rhaenyra's succession will be challenged. Knives will come out.
You are the king. Your duty is to take a new wife.
I have decided to name a new heir. I'm your heir. War is afoot.
Do you think the realm will ever accept me as their queen?
A woman would not inherit the Iron Throne, because that is the order of things.
When I'm queen, I will create a new order.
Your family has dragons.
There are power men should never have trifled with.
If Rhaenyra comes into power, she could cut off any challenge to her succession.
I am to inherit the Iron Throne. She will block my way.
Our hearts remain as one.
Oh, our hearts were never one.
Have you never imagined yourself on the Iron Throne?
Where is duty? Where is sacrifice?
How they see you as you are.
Go right there. Okay, I've got my impressions. I know I'm looking forward to this a lot more than you are. How are you after the trailer? What do you think after that trailer?
Didn't move me one bit.
Really?
Bit.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Oh, see, I'm more pumped for it now because everything felt like we were back, in Westeros. We were back there again. The tone of it, the feel of it. I thought the dragons were cool. The only negative thing I'd say about it is I feel like we're doing a rinse and repeat on Daenerys, another woman taking the throne, and I feel like that story it runs a little too close to what the Game of Thrones storyline was with her.
Well, it's the story of the Targaryen bloodline. I mean, they've got. I think Varys said, you flip a coin, and it'll either be a good ruler or a crazy ruler. When it came to the Targaryens, I just been, I've been burnt with Dragonfire by Westeros and by Game of Thrones. I was so invested in that show, so invested, and the way that show ended. It just fell so flat for me that it's so incredibly difficult for me to get excited about anything, especially a story that doesn't involve any of the characters that I got used to seeing during that show. Like, this is a brand new, I guess maybe that could end up being a positive for it as far as being a brand new story with
Yeah.
brand new characters. Maybe the separation will be a good thing. But they're gonna and there's a lot of footage of, dragons, which is cool. I hope they lean into that because, dragons were used pretty sparingly on the original show, just with the story
Uh,
itself, the
and as much
plot.
as we've seen them in this trailer, I mean, the way they're setting up for them to be a major player in this series.
Yeah. My heart's moved on, I think. Like, between Wheel of Time and Lord of the Rings coming out, like, as far as there was a time where Game of Thrones was fantasy on TV, and that was it. And now we're in a post Game of Thrones world where all the other streaming services are trying to catch up with that popularity. They're like, "Oh, well, this could be the new Game of Thrones, the one that has that sort of scratch that fantasy itch."
Yeah.
But I just don't care anymore. I just don't care anymore about Westeros and the politics there. Like, I don't care about that place or the people in it. I
Yeah,
don't care.
it's gonna be a lot of politics. I can see it's gonna be a lot of politics happening there, and yeah, I mean, I could see what you're saying. I think we feel a little differently on how the Game of Thrones ended. The only problem I really had with that is I felt like rather than being was it 6 episodes each for the last 2 seasons, it needed to be 10 to 12 episodes to breathe a little bit more. So I felt like they rushed it. I didn't mind how they went with it.
Mhm.
This here, I just like going back in the world. I love being back in Westeros. I love seeing the dragons. I like the Targaryens. I think that's going to be a fun storyline. I'm all about the politics that's going to go along with it. It,
Yeah.
it just seems like it. The Game of Thrones has earned its ability just to give it a chance. Now it
Mhm.
may, I mean, it may not be any good. We may actually watch episode one. What's going to be the big teller is episode one of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
I watched when they put out that teaser. So they put out that first 15-minute teaser of the episode,
Right.
knowing nothing about Game of Thrones, and I watched it multiple times. Couldn't wait for the season to start.
Yeah.
This episode one has to be bang on. It,
Sure, yeah.
it has to be. There's no option for it because just like there's so many people that are in your spot where you're like, you know what, I'm done with it. I mean, I'm gonna check it out because it's Game of Thrones, maybe episode 1, 2, see where it goes. But there's no like I'm waiting for episode one day off. I'm watching it day off.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a lot of people that be waiting for word of mouth. Like, okay, I'm
Yeah.
watching it. Did I like it? If the people that are tuning in for it and can't wait for it enjoy it and good word of mouth hits, that's when it's gonna grow. But if that first episode falls flat or just kind of meh, that's when it's in trouble.
Yeah, I hear you on that. I will be watching it only because if it's a Game of Thrones spinoff and something that's been in the works for this long and it's got George R. R. Martin's seal approval on it, like, it's absolutely worth checking out. I'll be honest with you, like, the Targaryens are probably my least favorite part of the original series. Like, Daenerys and the history of the Targaryens and I much preferred the Starks, the Lannisters,
Yeah.
the ins Tyrion and all the treachery with Littlefinger and Varys and that the whole crew. So it's like the Targaryen piece with these this blonde family that liked incest and dragons and stabbing each other in the back and like I just that was my least favorite part. I guess I was least interested in that part of the Game of Thrones. So a whole series around the Targaryens, I'm just like, okay, all right, I guess.
It's funny because when you were mentioning all that about the Targaryens, for some reason my mind ventured into what Dune is, and I'm like,
Mhm.
it's very very similar when I guess in that aspect. But yeah, I mean, only time will tell. I
Yeah.
mean, we're gonna have, and it's gonna be if it's not good, it's gonna be glaring because it depends on how Lord of the Rings is doing. If Lord of the Rings is fantastic and Game of Thrones here is only just good, it's gonna be
Mhm.
glaring how one's better than the other. So they set a high bar. First Game of Thrones set a very high bar for all of them to achieve. Now, like I said, yeah, it went downhill for you, but those first few seasons were
Mhm.
fantastic. So, I mean, we'll see where it goes. I'm looking forward to it. But if it's not any good, it's gonna suck.
Yeah, and I think I kinda hate that it's a prequel too, because it's just like with any I don't know, I wonder if I'm gonna this is opening up a whole door, but Star Wars, media that takes place 100 years 100 plus years before The Phantom Menace, you kinda know where it leads, you kinda don't. It's new characters, but you know eventually what the galaxy looks like, years after that.
Yeah.
Like, is it gonna detract from the storytelling? Like, I feel kinda like that too, like, how much is it gonna tie into the old show? Do I even want it to tie into the old show?
Well, I think the storyline's gonna run up to the Mad King, and
Mm,
we'll learn more about the Mad King and when he was starting to burn Westeros with was it wildfire or the
right, yeah.
so we're gonna learn a little bit more about that, and that's where I think the show is gonna basically stop. So I'm not sure how long they've got the show written out, but
Mhm.
I mean that's what we're gonna learn, and then that's when the basically what we know as the Game of Thrones with the Lannisters and the Starks and everyone trying to take over the throne themselves is gonna
Yeah.
take place. So I mean, like I said, time will tell. I'm excited for it. You're kind of meh about it. Uh,
I You know what? I'm even kind of, like, more meh than I was before watching this trailer, and
really? Now, see,
it has
I
nothing
would.
to do with the quality of the trailer. Don't get me wrong, the acting looks great, the cinematography looks great, I think the dragons look great, but there was no dialogue, there was nothing telling me that, like, "Oh, no, this is gonna have a story that really envelops me and, like, draws me in." It just looked like more of the same kinda stuff, like, I don't know any of these people, so it's like, how am I supposed to be invested
But
with the treachery in between them when I don't know who any of these people are?
but the same can be said when we went into episode 1 of Game of Thrones. We didn't know who Ned Stark was. We didn't know who any of those characters were. So that's why that first episode is going to be so important because that first episode got us involved with Stark. Why
Yeah.
was he cutting the dude's heads off when they ran from the wall? We didn't know nothing about the wall at that point. We knew that this was the penalty to pay. Real quick, they sucked us in. We knew that there were uh start stakes within the whole show, within the first like 30 minutes of that show. So what
Yeah.
kind of stakes are we going to find here besides I don't want to choose between my brother and my daughter.
Yeah, but, I see where you're coming from there, but then at the same time, like, we were learning about the world of Westeros from the get-go too, like, everything was new. All the settings, all the people, the families, the structure, the lore, the mythos, the history, the White Walkers, like, everything they were, releasing this bit of information bits at a time. This just feels like, to me, it feels like a textbook that would have been, in the original show. Well, let's open up and read about the history of this particular family.
That's
And it's
fair.
like, we already know about Westeros. We already know about the dragons. We already know about like this world. So now we're just telling a new story in this world. And it's just something that had took place a long time ago. It just doesn't have the same drive for me. Like,
Gotcha.
I
I
don't
thought
know.
it was cool seeing the actual throne again. I thought that, I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know, just seeing the environment got me more excited than actually what the show may be. But it's
And I
funny.
don't I don't I don't have those same warm and fuzzies anymore, you know what I mean? I'm not
Yeah,
nostalgic for the old show, like, I feel like I've compartmentalized it, like, "Okay, that was Game of Thrones. It's done now, it's over with." That was a few year span of TV that I really enjoyed in that show, and it kinda fell apart at the end, and now I'm ready to see new stuff.
now the
Um,
funny thing is I haven't gone back and watched any of the Game of Thrones. And
yeah.
when it was on, I was typically a one watch and move on. There was
Mhm.
one season finale that took place, I think it was one of the battles of the wall, that I watched that one so many times because I thought it was fantastic. But there's
Right.
very few of them that I've rewatched. But I remember, I mean, they were so impressionable. I remember what happened.
Yeah.
So, I mean, all luck, HBO. I hope you go for it and you nail it again. But only time
Look,
will
I
tell.
may be I may be completely proven wrong because I loved Breaking here's another example. I loved Breaking Bad, all right? And after Breaking Bad was done, they made Better Call Saul, and Better Call Saul is wrapping up with its final season right now. It's actually the last few episodes. I think there are times when I think Breaking Bad is as good, if not or I'm sorry. I think Better Call Saul is as good or even better than Breaking Bad, and that's a prequel series spinoff, which is exactly what this is. So I'm gonna be watching it, and but it has a lot of it has a uphill climb from to win me over.
Yeah. Well, guys, you know what? Let us know what you think. Put it in the comments below if you're feeling the same way Sean is here, or if you're feeling the same way as I am. just let us know about it. But make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're going to be talking about this show when it comes out. We're going to be doing a weekly show on it, and it may be an interesting watch for you guys because we may be on two completely different spectrums here. Most of the shows we do, we're very, very similar in our opinion. This one here could be a very fun watch for you if we're both feeling a little differently about the show.
Right.
You see, but I guess until we see you guys next time, keep it cheesy.
Yep. See ya.